What is it? It. The it factor. What is it, and do you have it? It is more than being a mere sex symbol, more than mere sex appeal. It is more than somehow being emblematic of your time, your place, your era. It is about indescribables. It is about something beyond its meaning. It's about becoming something beyond yourself. It is about it. Clara Bow had it, was it, and defined it. Today on Idol Worship, we are going to be talking about one of my favorite sex symbols of all time, one of my favorite things ever photographed. We're going to be talking about the it girl, Clara Bow. Clara Bow. Good Lord. Speaking of it, the 1927 film, It, starring Clara Bow, is one of my most beloved movies. Not only do you get to see Clara Bow transcend film itself in beautiful close-ups, and just her energy, she is so lively and cute and bubbly and popping, and just, you can't pull your eyes away from her. Apart from that, it is to me a very charming film. Clara Bow was a very charming woman. That film to me, I've watched it several times, and it makes me feel very good. It's a piece of comfort cinema. It is a feel-good movie, and I think it's great. Clara Bow actually had the good fortune of being in a couple great films, which is kind of rare when it comes to these sex symbols of the early ages of film. I also really like Wings. Wings is an incredible movie, and she was incredible in it. Clara Bow, the it girl, the flapper, to end all flappers, the flapper to define flappers. Now, she wasn't the first flapper, but she is what you think of if you don't think of Betty Boop. She is what you think of when you think of the flapper. She is exactly my type, but there is something to be said about Idol Worship, a series where we focus on those people, those women, those men, those unique human beings that just had to be photographed, that just had to be documented in some sort of way, in some form of record, or else you would not believe they ever existed at all. Clara Bow is almost the definition of this concept. If you were to relay to me Clara Bow, if you were to talk to me about Clara Bow, trying to describe this woman, I would just assume that you were being mythic on purpose, that you're being disingenuous, that there's no possible way a woman, an actor, who was this extraordinary just to watch, with no sound, could exist. This woman who transcended not just the film medium, but her own time, and the mere concept of sex appeal. She completely transcended all of it. She is so gorgeous, flawless even, and when you had her in a close-up, she just worked magic. She just was just so incredible, and the saddest part is her entire career she was ruined by scandals, some real, some imagined, most real but exaggerated to the point of absurdity. She was a woman who possibly had one of the toughest upbringings we will ever talk about on Idol Worship. Her mother was a prostitute, and her mother was also borderline insane, threatened her with butcher knives, hid her in pantries while she brought tricks home, and exposed her to a very callous form of sexuality at a very early and young age. But beyond that, her father sexually abused her all of her youth, which she didn't remember. She repressed those memories under hypnosis and under intense psychotherapy. Later on in life, she would remember that her father would rape her. And she would still invite her father over. She would rather she hadn't remembered that memory than confront the truth about it. She also ended up actually losing her marbles, actually going insane, losing and distancing herself from reality, becoming a shut-in who was diagnosed with schizophrenia. She did die very interested in Marilyn Monroe, one sex symbol being fascinated and intrigued by another sex symbol for another age, another it girl. And that's really the tragedy of most of these idol worships. Most of these idol worships will have a bittersweet tone to them. It is sweet because Clara Bow makes me feel cared for. It is sweet because Clara Bow makes me feel comforted. She cures my loneliness in those close-ups. And I want to touch her, I want to feel her. It's a very visceral kind of want and desire. It's sweet because Clara Bow on screen is sweet. And it is bitter because often sex symbols are not born, they are made, and they're made in the most savage ways possible. And also, sex symbols don't typically retire. They're forced out in the most selfish ways possible, with little regard to the humanity of that figure, that defined desire, that defined cinema for a period of time. But idol worship is important. We need to remember these people, because this is what film is supposed to do. Film is supposed to capture outrageously good-looking people doing outrageously daring things or outrageously mundane ones, and I can watch Clara Bow do either for hours on end, because she remarkably encapsulates the meaning of film. The meaning of film is Clara Bow in motion. The meaning of film is Clara Bow cut to close up. The meaning of film is Clara Bow brilliantly demonstrating that vague and fun concept of it, because she had it. And it was undeniable. It was just as undeniable as it was undefinable. An amazing woman who really didn't do too poorly with the transition to sound. She was afraid of the microphone. She thought that her Brooklyn accent was rubbing people the wrong way, but it truly wasn't if you look back on her sound pictures, and she had the good fortune once again to be in at least one good sound film. What killed her career were the scandals that seemed to propel it, that seemed to maintain it, was the unspoken and unsigned morals clause that she violated. Clara Bow is the reason that film has continued to exist, because filmmakers found out that when you put people on screen like Valentino, people on screen like Louise Brooks, like Clara Bow, like Douglas Fairbanks, like Greta Garbo, like John Gilbert, that when you put these beautiful people on screen, people will watch and people will lose track of themselves, because their appeal, their power is all-encompassing. And it goes beyond film. Film becomes something beyond itself. It becomes something express the inexpressible, right? It becomes something that is beyond faith. It becomes magic in real time. And this is where we get movie magic from, is from close-ups of women, of Clara Bow smiling, of Clara Bow knowing, of Clara Bow needing, of you wanting. Clara Bow's a remarkable figure, and I'm still completely transfixed on the image I have of her in my mind. All of those close-ups are burned into my memory. All the close-ups from all of her brilliant silent pictures are burned there. And it's a wonderful kind of refuge. It's a place that I can escape to when I need a cure, when I need an antidote for the modern ailment, which is apathy, which is loneliness. I can go to that place within myself, within my memory palace, and Clara Bow is there, and Clara Bow is dancing, and Clara Bow is grinning, and Clara Bow is wanting, and I am wanting as well. Silent film is incredibly important for a myriad of reasons. One of the top 10 reasons silent film is as important as it is because Clara Bow was as significant as she was as remarkable as she was as irreplaceable. When we pushed Clara Bow away from the screen, we lost something incredible. And we sadly set a rubric. We sadly patched in the framework for how to abuse sexually, emotionally, and physically all of our future sex symbols. Clara Bow will never die in my mind, and she will never be ruined in my mind. She will always be as pure as cinema could possibly be, pure like a memory. Clara Bow. I never tire of worshipping Clara Bow. To Clara Bow, everybody. Clara Bow is remarkable. Hope you enjoyed this episode of idol worship. It was a fun video to do, and it was an absolutely essential video to do. When I came up with the idea of idol worship, there are certain people that you just have to cover eventually, that it's just so obvious that you're going to have to. And Clara Bow was one of the very first who I knew I had to talk about her soon. It's almost as if idol worship was created for discussing people like Clara Bow, for discussing Clara Bow hyper-specifically. She's incredible. I hope you've been enjoying these idol worship videos. Please give the video a like, share it around with silent film junkies. We all know one within our group, either in real life or on the magic of the internet. Definitely in the comments below, what is your favorite Clara Bow moment? My favorite Clara Bow moment is actually from It, and it's actually the scene where she's basically introduced and she's trying to get the attention of the man she desires, and she's pulling that piece of fabric, and he's just not noticing her at all, and you feel like screaming at this silent movie. You feel like screaming at the television, like, oh my god, bro! Oh my god, the most beautiful woman in the world is just trying to get your attention for 1 second. What is wrong with you? And that's a very amazing and visceral kind of pulling of like an emotional response to a film. A very, natural emotional response as well. Nothing pretentious about that. It's just, oh my god, turn around. She's gorgeous. What is wrong with you? That's my favorite Clara Bow moment, because I could not imagine for a second walking into a crowded building anywhere in the world and not immediately noticing her first. And I wouldn't be able to stop looking. She's incredible. Thank you so much for watching. Watching these videos really means a lot. Comments. Engaging with you guys in the comments is always so much fun. You guys are a lot more knowledgeable than I assume a lot of the times. You always have something really important, really interesting to say, something that makes me wish I could redo the video and add your input into it. It's really fantastic input most of the time. So thank you guys very much for watching. Once again, my name is Zachary Conan. Subscribe to the channel as well. Definitely, if you've hung on this long, you will be very entertained. But once again, to Clara Bow, the woman who, in a large part, defines what I find so sexy. Shockingly sexy, actually.